That's March on Eurosport.
You've got to take care. Overall standings look like this. Mark Cavendish, he leads Kwiatkowski by 7 seconds. Nicky Terpstra, his teammate, also there. It was still, or has been, team time trial times that have carried Omega Pharma Quickstep to the glory of topping out the leaderboard. All that's going to change today because there's going to be some big gaps. A lot of space. Some riders are going to be back towards the cut-off time, I should think, today.
To be honest, I haven't actually looked at what the percentages are for cut-off time. I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue for these guys.
Young rider standings, Kwiatkowski leads it ahead of Peter Sagan. Yes, Peter Sagan is still a young rider. Despite the glories of yesterday, a lot of people saying this is the Sagan era. I think we mentioned that yesterday as well. And it's amazing to see the other riders sort of how they regard him. He really is a glorious specimen, if I'm allowed to say that. So point standings, Mark Cavendish just leapfrogging Matt Goss, who nurses that jersey on behalf of Mark Cavendish because Cav is in the blue leaders jersey. Won't be by the end of the day, so it may well fall back to points, but we will see. We'll see. So 2 days of climbing then, and then it kind of gets a bit classic, and then it's the time trial. We're sort of over the peak today, I think. Just a quick look at the overall climbers standings. Faye, there he is listed at the top at the moment, I guess, for current GC standing. So he's taken that jersey, and he'll underline that fact but if he finishes today and finishes ahead of Benedetti, who took that jersey yesterday. That's been a lively jersey. Team overall standings, no doubt about it. Omega Pharma Quickstep, they have been up there towards the business end of the sprints. You can draw your own conclusions as to how effective they have been, but they certainly were in the team time trial, and it's those times which have carried them to the top of the overall standings, including Mark Cavendish, of course. So, kind of pacey. There's a few sort of flat sections here, a few steeper sections as you'd expect as you pick your way down a mountainside. A lot of hairpins to deal with as well, most of those coming on the uphill climb to the finish.
Yeah, there are a lot on the uphill up to here to Adriatico. There's a few on the lower parts of the descent when we looked at it a little bit earlier, but this top bit, as I said, is very fast, not particularly technical. Back in the bunch, Quickstep are really pushing the pace up down this descent. They've still got a white jersey as well on the shoulders of Kwiatkowski, the Polish rider. Whether or not they think that he's got a chance today, they've also got Tony Martin, and of course we don't always think about Tony Martin as a climber, but he has won Paris-Nice overall. He can hold his own on a good day. I'm not expecting him to really be up with the big guns at the top and the finish of today's stage, but they've obviously got some sort of plan in place, and you can see the effect it's having on the peloton, really strung right out of a few gaps at the moment.
It really is strung out as well. High-speed entertainment for those of us watching at home. Hope you're enjoying it. Incidentally, if you'd like to join us on Twitter, it's Carlton Kirby, CarltonKirby, or Daniel Lloyd 1, DANIELLLLOYD, number 1. 33.9 kilometers to go, just under that now, and the chasers, it's a kind of becoming a select group, this. It's big catch-up time as we get to one of the flatter sections here for those who just got trailed off the back. If you haven't got your descending skills sorted out yet, you are going to lose out today on a long descent of 26 odd kilometers as we've got right now. Just outside of Matt Goss wearing the points jersey, clearly not struggling as much as some of the other sprinters here today, of which we count Mark Cavendish, who's having a little bit of trouble at the back. Kazakov, Mashinsky, Rao and Faye then still here, and Faye goes back for a little bit of sustenance, gets an extra little bit of slingshot with a sticky bottle. Nothing too serious. I don't think the commissars are going to have too many complaints about that. In fact, he's stacking up here. Yes,
gel.
Sticky gel as well. Exactly. You can use it as glue, but things don't stay on the wall that long with it. 33 kilometers to go then. A minute and 48. They've been on a charge.
Yeah, that increase of the pace towards the top of the climb by Saxo Bank Tinkoff, really bringing it down as well, in fact, as the quick step train going so hard. And it has started to bunch up a bit now, this slightly flatter section, a little bit of a plateau coming halfway down the descent. Not too far now until they start getting a few more corners, slightly more technical, and as you can see, it's given a chance for some of the other teams to really push towards the front, including Vinny Fantino. They've got a rider up the road. The guy that they'll be riding for, I think, will be Sant'Ambrogio, but you can never count out Stefano Gazzelli, veteran of racing these days, but a former winner of the Giro d'Italia, and you can never count him out. But yeah, BMC coming to the front for Cadel Evans.
Just saying hello to Sant'Ambrogio, who used to be with them, of course. He's leapt from red to yellow. Back in the peloton, sort yourselves out time with a little bit of sustenance and just get through the day. I think that's the kind of watch phrase, really. Just passing Vrecha, the Slovenian, along the way. Under 2 minutes now, and the pace really high. These guys are working for Evans at the nose. I'm just trying to see if we can pick out Sagan. He's not going to be that far off the front here. He does kind of ride the hills well. Everyone's saying, in fact, there he is, just to the sort of centre left of your screen, I think. Not quite sure, actually. It looks like maybe not his colours. Yeah, he has his own sort of Slovakian colour stripe down his Cannondale jersey. Away they come. You see how they're cutting the corners beautifully here. That's Evans at P3. He's got a wingman just behind him. Just to make sure that his rear wheel is safe. That's the ideal position to be. Evans, though, quite often he's not had the backup that other teams might provide. Maybe it's just because he's so great when it comes to the mountains. Quite often he's left on his own. I've seen him haranguing some of his teammates who kind of abandoned him on occasion. Then again, there you are, a world champion, 2009 Tour de France winner in 2011, and of course winner of this race as well that same year. It was his springboard to Tour de France glory, and there was nobody happier than me when he went on to win it. Did some amazing work in the Galibia, I think it was, famously, during that particular race. That particular race, the Tour de France, of course. But the 2011 Tirreno Adriatico as well, he also worked extraordinarily well. Will he just feel like throwing back to that today? You never know. He's got great ambitions this year, has Evans. Says he's in great form. The viruses that dogged him have abated, it seems. Look at the way these guys are taking these corners. They're all doing a good job.
Yeah, they're all determined to go into the foot of the final climb of the day with as much of an advantage as possible. Kessiakoff, I think, is really just here as a kind of lieutenant for Vincenzo Nibali, the #1 on his back of his teammate in Astana. It's sometimes handy, as we all know, to have a rider up the road. If Vincenzo's feeling particularly good at the last climb of the day and makes an attack, Kessiakoff should still be just in front of him and maybe able to help the chase a little bit, or just keep him out of the wind for another kilometre or two before he solos on. Whether or not he's got the form to do that is yet to be seen, but it is also reasonably windy towards the top of the climb here, and it looks to be a headwind up at least the final straight. It does do some twists and turns, of course, on the way out with the hairpins, but that's their tactic. It's meant they haven't had to do any of the chasing so far today, which has been left to the likes of Saxo Bank Tinkoff and, of course, now BMC, who we see on the front.
I don't know whether Lodewijk had a problem. Klaas Lodewijk, the Belgian, just off the back, just looking for maybe just a little bit of energy bar as well. In fact, he's powering away, he's collected his bottles, and he's doing a job. There you are, there's the answer. Klaas Lodewijk on full chat as he's going to bring up everything that these boys will need for the last run-in. It's going to be very difficult to actually hand anything over once we start climbing proper.
It will be, yeah, and he'll actually do well, to be honest, to get to the front of this climb, to the front of this group before they start the climb. It's they got another 13 kilometres roughly before they start the final climb of the day. Maybe time to bring our viewers up to date on a couple of the people that have retired from the race today, the last of which was John Degenkolb. He was off form yesterday and pulled out around about 40 kilometres ago, the rider from Argos Shimano. Ignatius Konovalovas from NTN pulled out towards the start of the stage, and we had one non-starter as well, which was Makato of Vacansoleil.
Shame about Degenkolb. We never really functioned here. Argos Shimano were harried, I think. He needs a good old train, Degenkolb, if he's going to compete with the likes of Sagan Cavendish and indeed Greipel along the way. Didn't quite happen for him. Gerald Cholik went well for Quebecer yesterday. I imagine today he's going to be suffering a little bit. Here we go. Very, very high-speed descent going on here. Another little kick down, I think you might say. Just under 2 minutes then, 1 minute and 56. That's about ideal as we are at the moment. They will start to not panic, but edge ever closer to them, I suspect. Before the real fireworks begin. There's one of these covered road areas where an awful lot of snow melt when it does get to that. Sheets across it. It almost looks like a very wide waterfall on occasion. The road's not wide today. In fact, they narrow up through the woodland area. Plenty of that here. As we said, they've been hunting wild boar in this part of the world since Roman times. The hunt is on at the moment by the peloton to try and catch these guys. I think they're doomed, and with 1 minute and 51, most certainly, they haven't got enough class up front compared to the chasers. 26.5 kilometres to go then through some of these mountain road tunnels that we get along the way here, which keeps the countryside looking nearer to pristine, as would be the case if they cut through it. The old road there on the outside of the mountain, as you can see, which would have caused a few nervous moments in the past, now superseded by the tunnel. You often get that. And there, the snake.
Nice shot, that.
Lovely. That's what we're dealing with. They'll emerge in just a few moments' time. I guess the helicopter may well hang around to meet them. Some long tunnels here, aren't there?
Yeah, there were. I remember how much fear you had last night that we were going to have another road closure on our trip to the hotel.
Yeah, we picked our way up. We did get one road closure, which I can tell you quietly, provided you promise not to tell anybody. We tried to get through. In the end, it wasn't to be, and we backed out and took an alternative route. But we did win the race amongst our colleagues to get to the hotel first. We were slightly disappointed by the hotel, but that's another story. 25.2 kilometres to go. 1 minute and 50 is the gap now. And just look how close they're getting to the walls here. Be very careful into tunnels and indeed out of them, because the surface can be very, very wet on occasion. You can see there's been a little bit of light rain. It's not just snow melt runoff that we're dealing with here. The clouds sort of blotchy, I think you might say, spotted around the sky here. If it does roll in good and proper, it will get very, very cold towards the top. If you get in the shade here and then you're hit by the wind, it can feel rather uncomfortable.
Dealing with the challenges ahead requires focus, concentration, and a will to succeed. The International University Sports Federation, representing 163 countries, promotes sports values in tune with the academic spirit. Thousands of students from around the world participate in the events it organizes. And what do they learn? Friendship, integrity, cooperation, and achievement. The International University Sports Federation. Excellence in mind and body.
Dikkat et oğlum.
Pass off. Pass op, pass op, pass op.
Attention, spatimo.
Nee.
No. Kalm. Vur.
Geef een schot, doe maar. Precies.
Kom op.
Goal!
Follow the score of your favorite team live and find the latest results and features with Eurosport's live score.
Get Eurosport.com for your iPhone free. Every day sees full and expert coverage of sports news with dozens of articles and an easy one-stop video section that lets you live and relive the very best moments of sport. Follow all the scores, fixtures and tables live. Eurosport.com, the reference and sport apps available on the App Store. Eurosport Player is the multi-screen service of the Eurosport channels. With Eurosport Player, watch Eurosport and Eurosport 2 live on computer, smartphone and tablet through a single subscription. Watch your favorite events through the catch-up service. Also enjoy exclusive content through the bonus channels. Watch up to 7 tennis courts simultaneously and follow your favorite players. Eurosport Player. All sports, all emotions.
The star names of women's football are in Portugal for the highly prestigious Algarve Cup. The favourites include Germany, the cup holders. The Swedes are always dangerous. The awesome Americans have the history. And Japan are the reigning world champions. But 8 nations are in it to win it. And there's all to play for. Monday in the Algarve Cup, it's Germany against Norway at 1300 and Sweden, USA at 16:15. Live on Eurosport.
Yeah, it can indeed. It's one of those things just at this time of year in March, you can get all sorts of weather conditions. Might just go through a quick few of the names before we start the last time. We've done the 5-star favourites, the really big name Grand Tour winning riders, but there's a load of other people here as well. Pozzovivo, he was in the top 10 on this stage last year. He's now riding for AG2R. Blanco have got Walker Mollema, and he's supported by Slagter, who won the Tour Down Under just a couple of months ago. Moser and Caruso are the ones to look out for Cannondale should Sagan decide to save his legs a little bit for tomorrow. He said in a press conference, Sagan, yesterday, that he was hoping for good weather and therefore a slight rest day today, which wouldn't be a rest day for most, but maybe if you're that talented. Sammy Sanchez. It's only his 3rd race of the year, Tirreno Adriatico, and the other 2 were single-day races, but you can never count a rider of that quality out.
You know, as we were coming into the tunnel here, there was a real acceleration by BMC, and I wonder if they're in cheeky mode here on behalf of Cadel Evans, who was really pacing like a sprinter out front. Let's see how they emerge here. I just wonder, because as you get sort of into that tunnel area, you can lose a bit of vision. It's almost like everything closes down around you, and you can see what the pace has done here as they've kicked it up.
Somebody once told me that a good method coming into a tunnel on a sunny descent is to close one eye on the entry.
What?
Apparently helps your eyes adjust to the darkness that you suddenly find yourself in.
Ah, all right, now I understand. I thought you were just winking at the policeman who monitors these things. But anyway, maybe you were. So should we continue with our great and good for today, as the pace does continue to be high here. It's hammered down by BMC, you know.
It is, yeah. But to continue on with the riders, you've also got Chris Horner. 41-year-old veteran, the oldest rider in this year's race. He did really well here last year. He was in the leader's jersey. The 2 stages here, Chieti we've got tomorrow, they were reversed from last year. And into Chieti, he took top 5, I think, and then he went into the leader's jersey. I think he lost it to Nibali on this stage, but certainly one to look out for. It is his first race of the year, but he always trains very hard back at home in California, and you can never count a guy like that out. Garmin Sharp, well, not performed particularly well so far in the sprints or in the team time trial, so they're going to be relying on Daniel Martin, the Irish rider, to see what he's capable of producing today. He's had a difficult early part of the season, having had all their bikes stolen from the Tour of the Med, which was his previous race so far. Rodriguez of Katusha is backed up by Moreno. We see him a lot, the Italian rider, in the Giro. It's set to really a great help and almost a kind of joker to a point. I mean, he's a superb rider in his own right, and he's on the same time as Rodriguez, 53 seconds behind Mark Cavendish. Amador of Movistar, winner of a stage at last year's Giro d'Italia. He caught a fine the other day, so he's actually 30 seconds off the race lead when he was only 20. He got caught holding onto a team car, but Froome supported by Cataldo, another guy that was very good at the Giro last year, as well as the 2 Colombians, Henao and Uran. I think they'll all be 100% in support of Chris Froome. Paris-Nice yesterday, it was the same old for Team Sky, the way they rode the last climb of the day, similar to last year's Tour de France, where Bradley Wiggins won, and I'm thinking maybe they're going to do the same style of thing today. It's they would have had their meeting last night and perhaps again this morning just to decide how they're going to play things, but we know that they like to be fully in control. Not seen too much of them since the top of the climb, and BMC really taking a kind of charge at the front of the bunch here now.
Yeah, they are. I'm just wondering whether they just wanted to put the hurt on Vincenzo Nibali. The Astana boys here have done a good job of guiding him down. Not sure about his downhill credentials. Damiano Cunego, of course, is the king of that, but he'd like it even longer and even more focused.
Nibali's actually very well known for his descending as well.
Oh, well, there you are. He's clearly in good company here. BMC certainly not able to shake any of those who may well be suffering here today. Chris Froome, how's his descending skills?
Yeah, nowhere near as good as Nibali.
Goes up
he's not bad, but he's sometimes a little bit careful around some of the corners, but I just don't think this descent's not quite technical enough. But as I said, we haven't seen the sky, boys. Just looking on one of the other monitors, it's quite a long way back. Here we've got the same picture again now. 6 BMC riders on the front, another 5 or so from Astana just behind them, and for sure behind those two trains we've got the likes of Saxo Bank and Sky jostling for position as well. But I'm expecting that to be a little bit hard, well, more fought out, shall we say, by the time they reach the foot of the last climb.
So around about 20k from the arrival, as we are right now. So it will kick up before you know it, and that's when the real business end of the day comes. Let's just talk about the run-in, shall we, as they maintain their speed, but clearly all together on this slightly less focused part of this descent. It does bounce, so you come off the descent and then you carry as much speed as you can into the climb towards Prato di Tivo, and it is listed, this climb, as 14.5 kilometres, just over that in length. It's going to take them some time, though.
Yeah, it will do. It's going to take around about 40 minutes, just giving a rough guess for the riders to get up here. So you know, we're going to see the big name riders really watching each other, I think, at the start, and it's, you know, the likes of Sky, if they don't choose to just drill it from the bottom, maybe they'll send up one of their jokers up the road and see what happens in terms of reaction from the other teams. And it's really only BMC that don't have that option in terms of sending a rider up the road. Astana, as we've already mentioned, have got a rider up the road in the break already. Cannondale, they're looking pretty good at the moment, up towards the front. No sign of Sagan, so I think we can assume that he was being truthful in wanting a rest day yesterday.
Yeah, well, he's living up to that right now, unless he's put on some wet weather gear. Vincenzo Nibali focusing in on him. There he is, Tirreno Adriatico winner last year, defending champion, wears number 1, and well and truly up with the main pursuers here. Minute and 47 only out to those up front. Well, we've seen Terpstra doing a busy job on behalf of Omega Pharma for the sprint days. Can't really help Mark Cavendish today. If you are looking for him, he's at the back and just struggling slightly, I'm afraid. So it will be handing over the leader's jersey today before you know it. Into the shade here. It's very, very cold as you do come into that. Thankfully, the sun has stayed with us. The cloud more or less staying away for the time being. It is sort of shrouding the end game today. But these 4, they've been out there for much of the day, and they continue to be there. Just taking a little bit of sustenance. Faye in one of the more open sections, and they're kind of looking at each other now, and indeed, as you saw, looking across the valley just to see where the teammates are. And clearly Kasaikov is minded that he can't do too much damage to his own team.
No, but he's not. The further he is in front of the main peloton at the start of this climb, the better it is for his team. So he certainly won't be sandbagging, as they say, or not doing his turns on the front. He's determined to get there with as much of this 1 minute 44 second gap remaining as possible. I mean, the bunch are going particularly fast now, but I think it's the bottom of that descent that was the most technical. So in theory, they shouldn't, in the bunch, gain too much ground from here to the start. Only about 2 kilometres before the break reached the foot.
Contador, you know, he's been showing his credentials even on the fast days. He's been pacing when he can. He also looked quite sprightly in the team time trial, almost to the detriment of his own team. It's very much his kind of day, and he looks very, very comfortable, doesn't he?
He did, yeah. Yesterday when... I can't remember which one. Oh, it's Paul Martins of Blanco who attacked at the foot of the last 1 kilometre drag with 4Ks to go yesterday, and Contador was straight on his wheel. I mean, it was more out of just staying out of trouble and near the front than it was to actually gain any time on his rivals. But looked quite sprightly then. I'm eagerly anticipating actually the last part of today's race. We've been talking about Tirreno Adriatico for months in terms of the fact that so many big name riders have come here for the sprint and for the GC. We've seen the outcome of the sprints, not the duel we were expecting between Greipel and Cavendish, neither of them winning either of the sprint stages so far. But now we've got the fireworks to come from the climbers. Yes.
So who's your pick for today?
For me, give me 2 minutes.
I don't know Jimmy 2 minutes. Is he good? 1 minute and 40. How's that for shaking out the legs? He'll be singing alto tonight. That's for sure. He would have been if he'd hit a bump in the road. Kids, keep 1 foot on at least 1 pedal if you're going to do that. Danger. So here's your chasing group as we speak. Sort of in relaxed mode all of a sudden as we hit one of the flatter sections, and Cadell Evans doing his fair share of some proper pacing up front here. Is a mountain biker, of course, by origin, and so yeah, he sort of carried that skill right the way through his career, and indeed world champs and as you know, Grand Tour victories as well. 14.7 to go, minute 36 now. It kind of suits everyone at the time being, and it's kick-up time.
Yep, they're on the last climb of the day now, these breakaway riders. 14.5 kilometres to go, judging by the route book as opposed to the graphic on the screen. And Anthony Roux at France de Jeu immediately on the front, and all of them still together at the moment, but only another minute and a half now until this group reach the last climb of the day. In terms of who I'm going to pick, I'm going to, as usual with the sprints, I'm going to go for an outsider rather than an out-and-out favourite, and just go for little rider Domenico Pozzovivo of AG2R. See what he can do today.
And there's me thinking you're going to say Sandy Cassell. Well, you know what? Away from the favourites, is that the rule today? Away from the favourites?
Well, we'll have one of each, shall we? Just
all right then. I think
spread our bets.
I think Contador is going to be very, very difficult to beat today.
Every day is a new challenge, an opportunity to make a difference. Since 2005, FIFA has supported over 200 social development programs. FIFA's Football for Hope initiative is helping to change lives and bring hope through the power of football.
Follow the score of your favorite team live and find the latest results and features with Eurosport's Live Score.
Get Eurosport.com for your iPhone free. Every day sees full and expert coverage of sports news with dozens of articles and an easy one-stop video section that lets you live and relive the very best moments of sport. Follow all the scores, fixtures and tables live. Eurosport.com, the reference and sport apps available on the App Store. Eurosport Player is the multi-screen service of the Eurosport channels. With Eurosport Player, watch Eurosport and Eurosport 2 live on computer, smartphone and tablet through a single subscription. Watch your favourite events through the catch-up service. Also enjoy exclusive content through the bonus channels. Watch up to 7 tennis courts simultaneously and follow your favourite players. Eurosport Player. All sports, all emotions.
After a dozen testing tournaments, now the top players on the tour shoot it out for the top prize of £100,000. So who do you fancy of the 32 starters to pocket that check? The Players Tour Grand Finals from March the 12th to the 17th, live on Eurosport and Eurosport 2.
I think it's sort of time really to put your cards on the table. Chris Froome, clearly the man that Contador fears the most. In fact, he's, he said as much. I don't know whether that's really just to sort of upset some of those others who may well be GC contenders. But yes, I think that it is. He looks so comfortable. I think it's a Contador kind of day today. I'd be quite pleased to see him actually do it as well. And I think Sant'Ambrogio for Vini Fantini, they've sort of shown what they've got. If you want an outsider, he's going to keep up with the BMC boys, who he formerly knew, of course, having raced with them. We'll see whether he can ride amongst some of his old colleagues. Here, the main bunch then also hitting it. They're not that far behind, and this is kind of sort-out time.
It is, yeah. Very fast lead into the foot of the last time. Here's Faili struggling a little bit now, having been in the break yesterday. He's got the points he needs. He just needs to push on now and just make sure that he keeps his advantage on the GC ahead of Benedetti. Presumably he's got no idea where Benedetti is, and I also don't have any idea. We haven't spotted him in the bunch at the moment, but this guy should be on the podium in the best climbers jersey by the end of the day. Riders already being spat out at the back of the peloton, having either done their job or hung on as long as possible. And here's the front, led by Mikhail Shah of BMC. Niki Terpstra still there on the front, no action just at this point in time. Astana coming up on the right-hand side, bringing the number one, Vincenzo Nibali, up to the front.
We've also got Blanco showing their form as well. Tom Jutta Schlachter here, and Bauke Mollema and Nordhaug as well. A little bit further back as well. I'm still kind of looking to see where Sky are. Could just caught sight of them right now. So maybe they're just keeping their powder dry on a bright and sunny day, albeit with some shadows along the way. They're just rolling into some of those right now. That's a perfect example of some of the hairpins they've got to deal with. How you take those hairpins, Terps are just backing out of it there. Looked like he'd just gone pop. And there is Matt Goss nursing the points jersey. It's about getting home today for him.
Yeah, it is. He'll be pleased to get to the foot of this last climb in contact with the main bunch, and now he can afford to just take it as easy as you can on a 14.5k climb that averages 7%. It's yeah, no action particularly off the front yet. Shah's still there. Number of riders being dropped, but presumably just their job done for the day, and they can just sit back now and take it, well, as easy as they want to.
Yes, and why not? You know, one team I've been really surprised by how they have contended each day is the Kebeka team, the MTN Kebeka from South Africa. They've come here on an invite and they've done a great job. Cherlik was up there and in the frame amongst the quick boys, so we know about Cherlik, but some of the others as well. They've been a surprise package, haven't they? Yeah,
there was a guy called Sparagli that came 8th on the first sprint stage, young rider, neo-pro, so first year professional for him. But Zata there on your screens now in Lamprey, just taking it nice and easy. He's put some weight on over the winter.
Yes, I don't know what he's got in there, but whatever it is, he likes it. Just checking out as well, it's starting to break down at the front as well as the Sky just hit the accelerator. We'll be getting there in just a few moments' time as our Italian cameras just feast themselves on that new beer belly that seems to be carrying along. I'm not sure what he's got in there, but anyway. So down to 3, Kasayakov, Mashinsky and Rao, but still it's about what's going on at the nose of the pursuers at the moment, and you'll be surprised when you see it. It's Sky that have just suddenly decided that, you know what, enough messing about. We've been hiding all day, time for us to do some work. Here they are.
Yeah, here's Britain's Pete Kenner from the Isle of Man, just riding on the front, setting the early pace, and in the breakaway group, Marcinski decides that he needs to go alone and try and fend off his breakaway companions. 1:21 the gap.
Cadet 11's responding. There, just a little bit further back, we've got Singan. Hello. Nice to see his victory yesterday. Described as a 5-star certainty for the Milan-San Remo by Fabian Cancellara. I kind of know what he means, but, well, Milan-San Remo is hard to pick. There's the kickoff. Mashinsky decides, I've had enough of this. You guys, you're just an anchor. I'm away. 1:19 the gap then from him back to the main pursuers. Thomas Mashinsky, 11 pro victories, as you can see. Read it through, national champion as well. He was that for an awful long time, and time trialer as well. So he does set a rhythm, as we said earlier on today. And he can climb a bit as well, having taken the Tour of Poland. This boy knows how to go up and downhill. He's going to need to do that, have that skill today. He's got to do it all on his own, and with 12.3 kilometres to go, I think it's a tall order. Meanwhile, back in the main bunch, I've got to tell you that Sky are still in formation as we continue to pick up some of the strugglers who've done their job today. Maybe not struggling, but just riding it in, having released their energy at the right time as far as their team is concerned. Now it's time to conserve some to get themselves home. Back up front, it's Sky, Astana and Cannondale.
Yeah, Pete Kenner still on the front of the bunch here, or what's left of the bunch. Interestingly, Uran just had to pull Chris Froome up towards the rest of his teammates. He was a little bit further back for a while, a couple of kilometres at the start, and he's literally just got back up to the back of his train now.
Nicky Dirks for one of those we saw just going backwards a little while ago. He's just popped off the back as well. He was really setting the pace for Omega Pharma Quickstep as they headed into the climb, but clearly has got very little left. He's been extraordinarily busy over the last couple of days. Quite Kosky he's working for. Who have you got?
Andy Schleck, I think, is the first of the groups on the screen right now, with one of his teammates just behind. So
he's having a tough time.
He made it over in the group from the previous climb of the day, but I don't think particularly many riders got dropped before the start of this last time.
So 11.8 kilometres to go, and an attempt being made just to close down on Mashinsky here, but still his own tempo, but this does not look overly pacey, even though we know it is kicking up. There's Faye, who will be in the Mountains jersey if things stay as they are, and he duly finishes ahead of Benedetti at the end of the day in the general classification. He's just backing into the chasers here. I suspect they may well just breeze by him. He'll try and get as much protection as he possibly can. He needs to finish higher up the order than Benedetti if he's going to hold on to that jersey, which he has taken, at least in preliminary style right now, because courtesy of his gap on the chasers. So it's a virtual jersey. We'll see where the GC finish is at the end of the day. Sky, well marshalled. This could be a master plan.
Yeah, it seems to be the way they're tackling any mountaintop finish in any of the big tours these days, including these one-week ones. They did it yesterday, as I said, in Paris-Nice, and Richie Porte went on to win solo by 30 seconds and take the yellow jersey there. Doing the same kind of method and tactics today. 4 guys still in front of Chris Froome. It's Cadel Evans who's on Froome's wheel at the moment. Not injecting enough pace just yet to really shed out too many from that front group, but well, pretty obvious what their plan is for today.
Take no joy in watching Andy Schleck suffer. I'd like to see him find his form again. It's a long road back, though, from the sort of injury that he's had. He's not been alone, though, in suffering that kind of damage. Yes, questions to be asked, I guess, but what those questions are is almost anyone's guess. Pick one of 1,000, to be honest. He'll be asking himself the same amount, believe me. 138th in the standings and 6 minutes and 36 seconds down. It was sort of a day that he might have retrieved some of that time, but it doesn't look like he's going to. 1 minute and 13 then, the gap out to Mashinsky, who's kicked off, but the chasers here look absolutely solid. Sky on the nose then, with Astana just behind. BMC kind of thinned out big time. Just look at the glorious scenery that we have here as we approach 11k to go. A lot of big irrigation systems here. They do have a little bit of hydropower going on. I think this is just drinking water, however, by the looks of things. Can't see any turbines. There you go. Somebody will tell me otherwise, I am sure. These lakes freeze over, incidentally. You can go speed skating if you want to, midwinter. Don't do it now, you'll end up diving. Meanwhile, out front, and looking like he's well, concerned about those behind him, and that's a man who's not setting the pace that perhaps he'd hoped for. Meanwhile, Sky doing exactly the opposite. Just look at the speed that they're carrying into this. I wonder how Cadel will go today for BMC as well. In the mix, he will certainly be, and Contador as well, my pick for today. Amongst the favourites, yes, we'll see. So the mountain roads here providing our entertainment at the day's end. I think entertaining is probably not a word that some of these guys will be choosing.
No, the front group now down to what, 30 riders or so, so still not really high-end pace, but they're not even within the last 10 kilometres just yet, so plenty of time still to come for these guys. 4 still remain in front of Chris Froome, so fully in control still for Team Sky. Just trying to decide on exactly which riders they've got left. Still Pete Kenner, I think, on the front. I think that's Cataldo just going through your screens right now. It is the Italian rider who's just come across from Amiga Farm Quick Step. Enau, Uran, and then Chris Froome, I think, I'm pretty certain, is the order. Cadel Evans is the red rider on the wheel of Chris Froome. Agnoli and Vincenzo Nibali just behind that. We've got one of the Radio Shack riders. That should be Chris Horner, around about 10th in line. Trying to decide who else has still made it in this front group. Not seen Contador at all so far.
And they're having Cancellara. No great pace about him today, but when you look at how he deals with this sort of terrain, there he is, time trial world champion. It's hard to think of anyone who wasn't when you see that sort of list. Who was also, I should say, amazing character. But yes, he's also a man who's talking himself down ahead of the Milan-San Remo, which of course comes up next weekend, let's not forget. This traditionally a big build-up to that race, and Cancellara a little bit miffed that it was pushed back to Sunday, meaning that it's a 4-day gap from the end of the Tirreno Adriatico now, instead of 3 from its traditional Saturday.
The Star names of women's football are in Portugal for the highly prestigious Algarve Cup. The favourites include Germany, the cup holders. The Swedes are always dangerous. The awesome Americans have the history. And Japan are the reigning world champions. But 8 nations are in it to win it. And there's all to play for. Monday in the Algarve Cup, it's Germany against Norway at 1300 and Sweden, USA at 16:15. Live on Eurosport.
So, time to get your breath here. Oh, he's going to take it out the line. No! Unbelievable.
She is unstoppable.
What a great shot that was.
It's Morgan! USA finally break through! What a magnificent goal from the substitute.
The very best in sport and all the emotions. That's March on Eurosport.
10.2 to go, minute 9 now, and I think it's all done for Marcinski. Looks over the shoulder, told you everything you need to know. Cadel Evans just out of the saddle and starting to roll just a little bit here. Nothing wrong with that. It's kind of his style. Other riders, when you see that, you sort of think, is it coming to the end of their reserves? Cadel Evans himself, with 10 to go, has other ways of showing his fatigue. Past the 10-kilometre to go marker then, and Marcinski, last man standing up front, as Sky lead the chase. There is Cadel Evans as well, very much in the frame by the end of today, you can be sure. Where is Alberto Contador? Well, we haven't caught sight of him amongst the trees for just a few minutes here, but we know that he is within this group. In fact, I've just seen his bouncing form right now, dead centre of your screen, so very much involved. It's going to be one for the big names today, we know that. It's 2 solid days of climbing before we have a sort of a classics day, and then the time trial, don't forget to end the individual time trial on the coast of the Adriatic. That's our target, and there's your escapee, and it's all over. Now then, when will the fireworks start? When do you think?
Oh, well, they've got the steepest section of the race, or of this climb, should I say, comes around 6 kilometres to go. I'm not expecting to see too much from any of the favourites until we hit the kind of 5 or 6k to go mark. This is Kesikov just being brought back by the Sky train. 3 guys left in front of Froome now. Pete Kenner, I think, done his job and gone to the back and, well, sit up until the finish now. Good job by Pete Kenner. He focused on the track last year, winning a gold medal on the track at the Olympics, and coming back into some climbing form this year.
Yeah, form's what it's about, and this race has been an amazing build-up for many years for those looking to launch themselves into the later classics, which take place in, of course, Europe. Well, the early ones as well, I guess. 9.5 to go, under a minute now, out to Marcinski, who's up the road. We've just seen Astana's Kasaikov get caught. He was one of a 4-man break earlier on. Faye already there. Antti Rau, Francis de Jure still up the road, but our leader for now is Marcinski. But he's been checking across the valleys just to see where the chasers are. You do get a good view of everybody here. It's one thing, as you snake around the mountains, they do tend to disappear, but then loom into vision a little bit further up. Time for a well-deserved drop of water here. A lot of people ask us what goes into these energy bottles. Quite often it is just water, frankly. Thirst is a great thing. You do have some isotonic preparations which help to re-energize you. And indeed, I'll think of the word in a moment, rehydrate you in quicker fashion. But on a cold day such as this, sometimes just water's quite nice. 9 kilometers to go then. 40 seconds only, and the pace is up amongst the climbers. They're really thinning out. You've got proper climbers now remaining here. You're not going to find any other disciplines really towards the business end of today. Lamprey also getting involved.
Yeah, presumably Cunego's somewhere there or thereabouts. A little bit further up, we've got an AG2R rider. It's not my pick, Pozzovivo. I think that is Nocentini, who's on good form. 3rd place at Strada Bianca and having a good start to the season.
8.8 kilometres to go until we hit the finish line. There is an intermediate sprint, rather bizarrely.
Yeah, 3 kilometres time for the man on your screens right now. So 3, 2 and 1 seconds on offer for the first 3 guys over the line. Wait to see whether anybody from the or from this group on your pictures decides to try and pick up any of those bonus seconds. I don't think they'll want to try and pick up any, just because it means going into the red, which is not what you want to do on the mountain unless you're really going on the attack.
Moreno Moser did such great work at the Strade Bianchi. A fantastic performance by him. There's great individual push towards the end. Peter Sagan riding shotgun. Oh, dearie me, there's Sanchez. Do you know, we said it was going to be a tough day, and Damiano Cunego as well.
Yeah, Damiano Cunego, we just mentioned, is being gapped slightly from this lead group, which is really beginning to stretch right out now. Anthony Roux, the latest of the breakaway, getting caught, and 30 seconds left for Marcinski. Vacansoleil still off the front. Cunego not on his best form. Sanchez, as I mentioned earlier, he's seems to be wanting to come into form a little bit later this year. He's only done a couple of one-day races before he came into this race, but gradually starting to see who's got the legs today.
2004, Giro seems a long, long time ago, doesn't it? 27 seconds. Yeah, long old career though, and yes, a lot of credits to his name, as you saw. 8.4 kilometres to go then, and on one of the flatter sections it's not opening up at all. In fact, I think the camera's giving a lie here. If you look at the stanchions that are holding the Armco barriers here, they're at an angle. That tells you that he's still just doing his level best to continue this ride home here. He's gone over the steepest section, incidentally, and it's approaching that for the chasers here. 12%. Much of this is hovering around 10%, however, and it's a long one as well at 14.55 kilometres. Giovanni Visconti.
Yeah, triple Italian national champion. Not quite so good and then not quite so comfortable as we can see here on the longer climbs. He's been joined by his teammate Capecchi, who used to ride for Liquigas until this year, going over to Team Movistar. So gradually whittling down, still the usual suspects hovering around the front of the group. Somebody I haven't seen yet, I'm not sure if you have, is Joaquin Rodriguez of Katusha. I presume he's just a little bit behind Contador, but I've not been able to pick him out just yet.
Yeah, I've been searching for the red jersey, but not the points jersey, but the red jersey of Katusha. It generally can be white from the aerial shots as well. A lot of white in their jersey this year, but yeah, Contador's certainly bouncing away, and he's staying in touch with Froome. It may well just be a classic shootout between the two of them. We may not have got it in the sprints amongst the big names, but Froome versus Contador, that'd be a nice ending today.
Yeah, it would be. They had some battles out in Contador, and Froome came better off on one stage, which he won, and also in the overall classification. Been some weeks between to get to some different form now, but it's definitely going to be a close one. I mean, it's what we've been waiting for so long. Team Sagai still in control, no moves from the favourites just as yet. I think we could expect that. I think from NTN Quebec here, that's probably Padilla, just on left your screen now. Rabatini, last year's King of the Mountains at the Giro d'Italia, just getting dropped a little bit, but yeah, not a bad ride from him.
No, I like him as a rider as well, actually. He's quite feisty, you know, quite prepared to be a star turn on his own. Talking about stars, yeah. There is Sanchez, incidentally. Tony Martin also embedded within this little grouping here. Oh dear, you see 43 professional victories, and then you look at a rider struggling, you do wonder. Cadel Evans decides to just pick up the pace ever so slightly, bouncing as he does in that familiar style. We were talking about how you tell when Cadel Evans is at the end of the line. He starts to go a little bit grey. Indeed, his head turns to one side. I remember pointing it out, and he wasn't happy, said it was an injury from his mountain bike days. So, what are you spotted, Dan?
Well, it just looks like the group's really whittled down right now. Just looking at the other monitor, we've seen a load of riders going off. It's slightly bigger. There must have been a gap appeared halfway down. Pozzovivo's there on your right-hand side now, just bridging across from that split towards the front of the group. I think Kwiatkowski's still there from Omega Pharma Quickstep. He's doing a good ride, and he's dangerous as well. He's of the riders left in this front group, he is easily, well, not easily, but he's leading in terms of GC after Quickstep's opening team time trial. He's also a good time trialist, particularly on the short ones. And let's not forget, this race finishes with a 10-kilometre time trial along the seafront at the Adriatic. So he's just on the he's second from the back there. Pozzovivo's the one that's just bridged across. And we've got a very, very select group of 10 riders now. I haven't seen Rodriguez.
No.
Oh, there he is.
There he
Moreno.
is. Exactly. And with Evans also trying to join in. They've got to get back on here. 7.2 to go. Can easily
Evans?
snap. It is. That's what I said. Yeah, he's also there in that secondary group. Cadell, well, we're talking about him struggling at the moment. That's exactly what's happening. 7.1 to go. And it's a very select group out front then. Contador and Froome are there. Evans and Rodriguez are not.
Sky are riding incredibly well. I mean, the whole of last year they did this for Bradley Wiggins, and right the way through from Paris-Nice through the Tour Romandie, Dauphiné Libre and the Tour de France as well. And they're doing exactly the same thing at these 2 one-week races. Yesterday they destroyed the field with Richie Porte and riding exactly the same way, and they're doing exactly the same thing here in Tirreno Adriatico. They've still got 4 guys on the front left, so 3 teammates in front of Chris Froome. Almost half the group made up by Team Sky.
Amazing. They kept it quiet for most of the day, Dan, and we were saying, where are they? When are they going to go? And then all of a sudden, on the final climb, they decide, you know what, we're still here, and we're quite fresh.
Yeah, good ride from Wout Powers here. He's on his comeback trail from injury, having crashed very badly at last year's Tour de France in the first week, and I certainly wasn't expecting to see him on such good form so early this season. He was up there this time last year. I think he was in the top 10 on this stage last year. Doing a great ride here at the moment. Looks like Sant'Ambrosio's on the back there as well, is it?
I was just about to say, I don't want to upset you, but Sant'Ambrosio's looking good. Unlike this man. Oh, dear.
For more than a decade, we have created national, Olympic, and world champions. Now, Merida takes to the road. Experience what it feels like to ride the fastest bikes. Merida, more bike.
Every day is a new challenge, an opportunity to make a difference. Since 2005, FIFA has supported over 200 social development programs. FIFA's Football for Hope initiative is helping to change lives and bring hope through the power of football.
Follow the score of your favorite team live and find the latest results and features with Eurosport's Live Score.
Get Eurosport.com for your iPhone free. Every day sees full and expert coverage of sports news with dozens of articles and an easy one-stop video section that lets you live and relive the very best moments of sport. Follow all the scores, fixtures and tables live. Eurosport.com, the reference and sport apps available on the App Store.
The star names of women's football are in Portugal for the highly prestigious Algarve Cup. The favourites include Germany, the cup holders. The Swedes are always dangerous. The awesome Americans have the history. And Japan are the reigning world champions. But 8 nations are in it to win it. And there's all to play for. Monday in the Algarve Cup, it's Germany against Norway at 1300 and Sweden, USA at 16:15. Live on Eurosport.
Now, that looks like a problem. Is it just some... well, what on earth has gone wrong? Is that Contador, who's just about to get caught by Evans here?
No, I think he's... I'm just looking on the other screen. He's still on the wheel of Chris Horner in the front group. It's...
Oh, there he is. Yes, thank goodness for that. I was just about to say, I was about to brag about Sant'Ambrogio.
Wrong graphic. Don't panic. Don't panic.
Yeah, don't panic at all. Yes, exactly. As we did just momentarily there.
Kreuziger.
Yeah, there we are. Yes, much more long of limb when it's in slow-mo. It's quick time motion up front, however. Look at that. And there is a busy old day. The legs are going to... they're not going to be setting that tempo by the end, I can tell you. But this very select group, Contador well and truly involved here, but so is Chris Froome. It's going to be fascinating how this one pans out. Vincenzo Nibali and Sant'Ambrogio as well. And this could be a very, very interesting finish today. Well, we know it will be. Lots of questions to be asked, and a fantastic push by Wout Poels to to bridge that gap, and he still looks like he's got something left. This is great.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, Contador kicks it. Now then, how will Sky respond? There he goes. They're trying to get out of the saddle, and Contador's decided that this is his moment with 6.2 kilometres to go, and Froome tries to respond on his own here with his lieutenants just being left in their wake, and Contador has gone here, and just look at the tempo he's setting. This is amazing.
Well, this is what makes mountains so exciting. This is why this man makes mountains so exciting. He doesn't stick to the I'm going to stick at one pace and leave it to the last moment. He likes to inject pace like he's done at the moment. You can see the gap that's just opened up between himself and the others. I mean, admittedly, he caught them by surprise, but that acceleration is incredible, and it's what we haven't seen throughout last year when he was missing from some of the races. Great to see him sticking it to some of the Sky riders, and let's see what they've got in well, there we go. There's your answer. It's seems to be a little bit of a habit actually last year at the World. Wow, he's come to a standstill.
Yeah, he's come to a standstill around the hairpin, but he's kind of bouncing there. I've seen him do this and then fail, incidentally. Quite often he'll play a last roll of the dice if he's not feeling very well. You can't tell anything from the demeanour on his face. He drops into the back of this group, sort of, yeah, there you go, that's what I can do. I might well do it again. You'll have to prove me wrong. Sky set their tempo, and they just upped the pace a little bit, didn't panic. That's the crucial thing. Well, and they're back at the front here.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I mean, it's for some viewers and some fans that I see talking on Twitter, etc., it's really destroying the racing. But basically what Sky have realised, and rightly so, is that if you go into the red like Contador does, it means you pay for it. Not long after, we saw it just then. If you go into the red, then you can't sustain that for very long. You've got to go back below what your threshold power is, what you can sustain for 30, 40, 50 minutes before you recover again, and then go back up to your kind of long sustainable power. And they realise that, and they say, look, you know, just stick at the power that you know you're capable of from here to the finish line. And we know that the guys are going to come back, but in previous years, before the kind of knowledge of that was known, as it were, when Contador attacked, then you'd see the other favourites go immediately after him. And what that would do would mean that they also went into the red. And I think Contador is just better at recovering from it. But if you do stick to one pace, normally it's quicker. And Sky have realised that, and that's why they've adopted this this method that we've seen over the last 18 months or so.
Well, it's serving them well. There they are. It'll be Uran is the last guard man, if you like, for Chris Froome, who's been kept amazingly fresh, I think, by the efforts of his teammates. What will be the impact on Contador's push? We'll see. Maybe that's just a warning for everybody here. Further back in the suffering group here is, unfortunately, Cadel Evans today. Not at his best just yet, although he has said that he's feeling good this year, although blowing just a little bit, as you saw, blowing the cameras away almost. There's Uran in second place here with Froome just behind him. This is the front of the race. You have Alberto Contador and Nibali in here, as well as Sant'Ambrogio.
Kwiatkowski for me is the ride of the day so far. 5 kilometres to the finish and the peak of this climb, and he's still there. Young Rider's jersey on his back. He sat this morning just, I think it was 3 seconds behind his, the guy that was holding on to the leader's jersey, Cavendish. Oh, sorry, 7 seconds behind. So if you look at him compared to the likes of Chris Froome, he's got 20 seconds or so, and 10 seconds, 6 and 4, let's not forget, available for the first 3 rides over the line. And looking at how close this is at the moment, that could be kind of crucial coming towards the sharp end of this race in the next coming stages.
We drift into Nocentini here with our pictures. It's Cadel Evans just bouncing away in front of him here. Not in the select group, and they have a distance now of 16 seconds back to the Cadel Evans group, and it's just starting to show and stretch a little bit even within this group. It may well be a subgroup before you know it. Contador there, a quick check over the shoulder by Froome to see where he was. Right here, he says, without saying a word. Chris Horner also comfortably in the Radio Shack jersey there amongst this grouping. I want to see what Sant'Ambrogio is going to do here. I'm quite looking forward to this. 4.7 to go. Can I get the double?
Hope not.
There's a beer on it. Cadel Evans then still suffering it, and the seconds just eking out. Those seconds have to be made up, let's not forget.
Coming back.
They are. Well, we're saying they've got to be made up, and you've got to actually kind of work together to do that. You've got to stay in touch with those who are doing most of the work. And Evans just steps out of the saddle momentarily as Rodriguez, just a couple of riders ahead of him, also helps to pace back to these boys who are up the road. Setting the pace at the moment, it's Sky, and staying in touch is Contador, who has another look. Is he going to have another go?
I think he might think better of it now. Uran just drawing up alongside Dario Cataldo, saying, have you done yet? Have you want me to take over? And Cataldo saying, no, I've got another couple of 100 metres in me. But shortly after, he does bring Uran alongside and say, look, you need to do some work on the front for me. I'm starting to tire it. But he's still just slipped in behind his teammate. Still 2 guys left in front of Chris Froome. And as again, they would have sat down this morning with some very definite benchmarks. We still need this number of riders in front of Chris Froome at this point in the race. Uran now doing the work on the front. This group slipping back again just slightly. Moreno of Katusha doing a great job trying to pace Rodriguez back up towards the front group. Nibali looking not too bad. Looks fairly comfortable in around about 5th place there still.
Yes, just chugging ever so slightly here along the way is Castroviejo. As well, unfortunately for the chasers, there was not a great deal of room on the road as the camera bikes went over to one side of the road, the commissaires were on the other, and it left a very narrow passage to go through. And I don't know whether there's a bit of a distraction, but they seem to just slow down ever so slightly. They're back on, or will be fairly shortly here, as just the pace knocks back ever so slightly. I'm not sure whether this is respite for recovery with 4.1 to go, but it is entertaining stuff, that's for sure. And still the drag goes on, and Cadel Evans at the moment working for Nocentini.
I've just thought of something.
Go on.
I just wonder whether Contador was going after those 3 bonus seconds.
Now, well, we'll see.
Yeah, he won it. Sorry, I would completely forgot we had that intermediate sprint coming up at that point.
Yeah, he did. Alberto Contador taking that intermediate sprint. We'll have some impact of that for you in just a moment's time. Goodness gracious, well, there we are. So it was worth going for, I think.
That draws him to within 1 second of Chris Froome on the general classification, but Kwiatkowski has got 27 seconds at least over every rider in this group on the general classification. They've not shaken him off yet. He's on the wheel of Sant'Ambrogio in the bright yellow of Vinnie Fantini. As I said, for me, that's the ride of the day so far. He's not looked in any difficulty whatsoever, which you can't say for this man on your screens now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not a happy day for Cadel Evans. I think he's fairly fed up with carrying Dindo Nocentini here, but and he's stretching his legs a little bit. I think he's put in a bit of pace here, but it's kind of a desperate retrieval moment as that group begins to break down. Meanwhile, up front, all solidly together, Alberto Contador just peeling off the front to take that intermediate sprint and close that time gap on Chris Froome. Clever stuff. Yes, and I mean, we'll see how he finishes as well.
Yeah, sorry, and I say that you know, he's drawn within 2 seconds of a second of Chris Froome, but we haven't got the confirmation of who was top 3, so it might well have been that Chris Froome took the 2 seconds or the 1 second bonus still on offer. I have to get back to you with the details on that soon.
Well, 3.4 to go, and it's teammates who are starting to suffer here. Those who've done a proper job for their team leaders up front. And, well, team leaders are aptly numbered. You'll see an awful lot of ones knocking around in this select group up front, save for Sant'Ambrogio, who I'll keep mentioning until he fades. Number 218. There you go. That's the 81 of Joaquin Rodriguez back onto this group. This is good. This bodes very well for an absolute firecracker finale.
It does, but you tend to sort of see normally that if a rider's been dropped earlier on in the climb, that they will suffer again when the final injection of pace comes up. One rider that's been on Chris Froome's wheel for almost the entire mountain, Chris Horner, 41 years of age. Fantastic ride by him in this race last year, and he's also not looked to be in too much trouble so far, but we're really only going to see another rider coming back to the group now. Let's see who that is.
It's not Nocentini, is it?
No, it's Kreuziger. So Contador has a teammate back with this group now.
There we are. Good lad. 3 to go. And it's the business end of the day. Flamme Rouge beckons in a couple. It will be a real grind out there. The road marker for you. See how broken down it is. A little bit of moisture on the road as well. And Froome just giving a little tap instruction there to Uran just to pace up a little bit, not lose contact. Does so, responding almost automatically to that little physical instruction. and away they go. It's been like this for such a long time. It seems like Sky have been part of top-end cycling for a very, very long time. Yes, that's a Roman theatre. We've got our own drama playing out at the nose of the peloton here. Sky in control. Oh, not a bit of it, and Contador kicks again. Now, he did this to take that little intermediate sprint along the way. Now then, is he going to try and make this one stick? Will he burn out like he did last time? Well, maybe he just bedded in to save some energy for the grand finale. I think this is his last chance here, and this is him actually going for it. I don't think he's going to back in at all if he can possibly help it. Has a look over his shoulder, just see what the response is from Sky. They do pick it up this time, and it's going to be Oran, I think, that's going to lead the charge here for Froome. He's going to have to do it himself, Froome, at some point, but not yet.
No, again, they've just either couldn't respond or they're sticking to their plan. And it's, sorry, it's not Cataldo on the front now, it's Henao, the other Colombian rider that's on the front of your screens now, as Contador attacked. Henao and Oran still left with Chris Froome. Neither of them have responded particularly. The gap's looking to be around about 5-6 seconds at the moment. And yeah, is it part of the plan? Is it that Chris Froome can't respond? I think it's part of the plan, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Chris Froome perhaps putting a dig of himself towards the coming in towards the last kilometre and a half.
And I think it may well be coming just a little bit earlier than that. They carry a big pace through there. It's Oran that's left with him now. Not sure what the message says, but back out front, it is Alberto Contador that is bossing proceedings at the moment. But will he be allowed to? He really is a maestro when it comes to this sort of terrain. Now he's just got to show us what he's got this early part of the season. He's looked very relaxed. We mentioned that in all disciplines so far, and this is his favourite, let's not forget. This is his kind of theatre. And right now, Oran is doing his best just to hold that pace. It seems that Froome is content to stay there. Well, content, it's a word you have to use loosely. Standing water, as you can see, they cross over to the dry side of the road. But it is Contador who has gone off the front here and he's bouncing away. Now then, I think the charge has just begun. It's certainly a change of tempo by Oran under the instructions of Froome, perhaps. It depends on how many reserves he's got left. And of course, the individual reserves of Contador up front. Still they relay, trying to time trial back to him. We've got a lot of passengers here.
We have the group down to around about 6. Oh, here goes Nibali.
Oh, he's on the kickoff here. Nibali goes and Sant'Ambrogio follows him in the bright yellow here. And they're after Contador, and Nibali's got some strength here. Look at this. Well, he's been hiding, has he? He joins Contador and Sant'Ambrogio. They go as well for it here. Absolutely superb. Now, is Nibali going to get mugged here towards the end? And what's Froome got to respond? Well, this trio up front may well keep it very, very Latin as they go to the top here. And setting his own pace, Vincenzo Nibali wearing number 1. Alberto Contador next to him. And it's Sant'Ambrogio on the back wheel of Contador. Now, Sant'Ambrogio may well be able to be a bit of a passenger here with 1.6 to go, because these two big names will want to show what they can do and just keep and maintain that gap on Sky. The main threat is Chris Froome as far as Contador's concerned, but he's just grimacing ever so slightly. I'm not sure whether this is his poker face just falling away or whether he's just trying to deliver a false message. I don't know. Froome out of the saddle and bouncing nicely at the moment. They still relay back. 1.5 kilometres to go. It doesn't sound like a huge distance, but on this sort of terrain, there's still a long way to go here.
There is 1.5 kilometres still to go. They start looking at each other at the front. Kwiatkowski of Amiga Pharma Quickstep currently is riding himself into the lead of this race. He's still sat back on that group of 4 that's, 5-6 seconds behind Contador's group now. I still can't decide whether Team Sky are just not panicking or if they don't have the response to these guys that are at the front. Time will tell when they come into the last kilometre. It might be that Chris Froome makes his move then, but it's Chris Horner and Kwiatkowski who are the riders still left with this group of Chris Froome. Are they clawing themselves back, or are they losing ground on the front 3? Well, I think they're losing ground.
I think they're losing ground, and I've got to tell you as well, it eases up just a little bit. I don't know whether they're waiting for that, but really, they need it to be a little bit more focused. Contador, Nibali. It's Nibali on the front here. Alberto Contador just behind him, as you can see, and Sant'Ambrogio as well from Vini Fantini, just behind Contador right now. Sky look like they've made up just a little bit of ground. No, it's the foreshortening of the camera. Come on, do some work, says Nibali, if you want to take this, or if we're going to share the spoils here. You've got to do some work. Contador still stays there. He's saving his energy for a final battle, perhaps. And still around does a great job here. Horner waiting in the wings, you might say, and Kwiatkowski in the young rider's jersey in the white there at the back. He's a passenger just for now. Now, Sant'Ambrogio is saving himself, perhaps. He hasn't done most of the work here as they go into the Flamme Rouge. It's the run for home, and Sky turn on the pace here, and they're going to get back on them here. Now then, what will be the response? And here it comes. Nibali just kicks away, and Contador follows him. Sant'Ambrogio likewise, and Chris Froome decides to join the party. Is it all too late? He goes off. Horner tracks him as well here. Horner is the last man in what is likely to be the top 5 here. Now then, what has Chris Froome got? He comes up to them and he goes through. Look at that! Perfectly delivered, and he's just said goodbye to everybody, and Chris Froome has gone. What is going to be the response?
This is what we've been waiting for. The question I've been asking, are they just being relaxed and being cool about it and waiting for the right moment, or are they just not having the response to these guys? And the answer is right there on your screens. The plan for Froome was to wait until the last possible moment before he goes into the red. He's got around 2 minutes now before he reaches the line, possibly a bit less, and he can go full gas without paying for it afterwards. And look at the gap he's opened up already.
Amazing, amazing delivery. Look at that. And here comes the response, and it's going to be Sant'Ambrogio, I think, from this long distance. It's going to be nearest man to him. Froome is away. This is a man who has designs on the Tour de France title, let's not forget. Sant'Ambrogio was a bit of a passenger in that leading trio that looks like they may well sort it out. And it's Chris Froome who's saved his energy courtesy of his teammates, and Contador really grimaces as he looks up the road and sees the man who's going to take it today. Nobody's going to catch Chris Froome from this sort of position here. It's going to be minor placings, and Nibali, he goes for it. Contador's got nothing left. Oh, but this man's got everything, it seems. He's got a great team. He's got a great demeanour, great strategy, perfectly delivered. It'll be about minor places for these boys. Chris Froome is away as we look further down, and Sant'Ambrogio picks it up and grinds a big one here. Nibali nearest to him, and it's got to be said that Contador has failed to deliver. The man who he regards as his arch rival has just gone up the road here, and Chris Froome is bringing it home. 100 metres to go. The chasers are on, but it's all too late for them. He has saved himself beautifully. It's going to be Sant'Ambrogio, I think, that's going to finish in second place here. Everyone, though, is second to this man and to this team. Chris Froome takes it. It's a phenomenal victory for him and for Sky. Sant'Ambrogio coming across the line in second place. It will be Nibali across the line next, and we look for Contador. It's going to be 6.
Kwiatkowski just coming across the line now. I think he's going to take the jersey of the leader by around about 3 seconds, given Chris Froome's 10-second time bonus. What a finish to today's stage.
Absolutely superb. Daniel Lloyd's off to do some interviews for us. All credit to that man as well, Oran, who was the last guiding help for Chris Froome along the way. What a day of racing. It's going to be an awful long wait for everyone else to come by here. It's been a busy old day. Oh, I hope you've enjoyed it. We have absolutely loved this. What a day in the saddle, and some very, very long faces as well. As you can see, Rodriguez coming across with a big scowl to his face. Goodness me. Well, how on earth do you quantify that if you're one of the also-rans today? And there's been a lot of them. Goodness gracious, hope you've enjoyed it. We certainly have. What a day the Tirreno Adriatico has thrown up. Cadel Evans, I should say, coming across the line right now. Grey of Pala. You can see exactly what he's had to deliver today.
The star names of women's football are in Portugal for the highly prestigious Algarve Cup. The favourites include Germany, the cup holders. The Swedes are always dangerous. The awesome Americans have the history. And Japan are the reigning world champions. But 8 nations are in it to win it. And there's all to play for. Monday in the Algarve Cup, it's Germany against Norway at 1300 and Sweden, USA at 16:15.